It's just called Two Brothers, Kuro Mankuro.
And Conrad here.
All right, so we just saw Morgan last night, and I know we're actually a little bit ahead of the loop here because that movie doesn't come out until I want to say next Friday. But we're going to talk about it. We don't care about the NDA, whatever. All right, so this is Luke Scott's first attempt at directing a movie himself. It's produced by Ridley Scott, his father, though, so he must have had help if he needed it. Previously, he's only worked on Exodus, Gods and Kings as a second unit director.
Yes.
And he did a short film, I want to say even before that.
Yeah, it was for Red Camera. I forget the name of the short, but he did a...
Loom. It was Loom.
Loom, yes.
I haven't seen that yet. We're going to look into that. But if it's anything like Morgan, I'm sure it'll be competent, but not that interesting. Now, I thought Morgan was... It's a drama about people talking to each other, and I think that's where movies can be really good. But then again, it also kind of makes you wonder, why does this have to be a movie? It could have just been a short story. It could have been a radio drama, even.
Yeah, I guess in a very realistic sense, it could have just been a radio drama.
Yeah. Now, I thought it was well made, and I loved all of the actors in this movie. I think there's nothing wrong about the actors in this movie, and I forget her name that played Morgan. She was amazing. Kate Mara is very good at her work, and I think it's very funny. We saw a Q&A after the movie. They talked about, is it hard to turn off your emotions and this isn't what they said, is it hard to be a wooden actor? I laughed my ass off when they asked if it was hard to be a wooden actor.
Well, I just thought back to Fantastic Four. No, I wish she said that.
I wish she had said she thought back to Fantastic Four. Oh my God! No, she'd have turned into the Hulk if she thought about her turn as Sue Storm. But anyway, everybody in this movie was awesome. It's well acted and well done. What I think is funny, during the Q&A, they mentioned that like the area that the movie is in, like it takes place around a house. Yeah. They say that if you look at the overhead map of it, it's supposed to look like a womb.
Yeah.
However, the movie starts off with overhead shots of like the highway driving up there, but then no overhead shots of this place to look like a womb.
Now, just for reference, maybe put like a picture of a womb here or a shark brain. They look the same.
Or the Dodge Ram logo.
Or the Dodge Ram logo, yeah. There's a lot of things that have that shape.
It's a shape, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, like I think it's interesting that they would point that out in the Q&A, but not in the movie itself.
Yeah, like maybe there's a shot that they just cut from the final version of the movie that they just figured they didn't need.
Maybe they found
as
an editor, I do understand that sort of cut that shot would have actually been strange in the movie, I think, because that's like the only shot other than the intro of the movie that would have been above ground level. Yeah. And it would have been strange and out of place, and obviously too on the nose, so you're probably right about that. Now, let's talk about
it would have felt like the rest of the movie for Luke Scott.
Oh yeah, Luke Scott. You see, what bothers me about this movie is that I agree with every choice that Luke Scott made as a director, and it's probably bad since I'm not really a filmmaker. I'm not. Yeah. I haven't made anything more than a short that will never see the light of day. Well, and I agree with every choice he made, which is probably bad because I haven't gone to film school and I haven't made a film. And he's the son of Ridley Scott. He needs to have a voice. He needs to not just be doing homage and doing things by the book style.
I will say though, in his defense, if you'd have made the same decisions, then you'd have made the same first movie.
Fair enough. This is also his first actual movie as a director, so it makes sense that he's trying to play it safe, maybe. Although I get the feeling that this is him doing what he feels he should be doing as the director, not as somebody trying to play it safe in the first movie. There are a bunch of choices in there that they're pulled out of other movies. Like, for example, Ex Machina seems to be an influence in this movie, and I really love that Ex Machina is being acknowledged as... And maybe I'm just reading into it and finding this, but I think Ex Machina is a huge influence on this movie. And we looked it up. It actually came out, 4 months before they started production on this?
Yeah.
So it's hard to avoid that comparison. Yeah. I'm sure it's fresh on their minds. Maybe it was even a robot in the beginning that changed their mind after Ex Machina came out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of influence from that in there. There's influence from, obviously, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
I can't do that, Lee. Or
Open the door.
Open the door.
I'm
I'm
afraid
sorry.
I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. And sorry to ruin it for you guys. Spoiler. Little bit of a spoiler here.
Yet again,
And,
spoiler discussion.
and honestly, I didn't see the ending coming. And I know just discussing that there's a twist is in itself ruining the twist because you start thinking about it. And they didn't go into this movie saying, oh, there's going to be a big twist.
Yeah.
Because whenever they say that, I'm always weary of the movie because either the twist is bad or you've ruined it, and I wouldn't have guessed it unless you told me there was a twist.
Or third option, whenever they say there's a twist, you instinctively expect a different ending, but they give you the ending that you would have expected anyway, not knowing there was a twist.
Yes, like
The twist is, it wasn't actually a twist. We made you think it was a twist from what storytelling usually is.
the twist is the movie ends exactly the way a Hollywood-style story would end, and it wasn't actually a twist.
Yeah.
You don't know what a twist is, guys. No, but anyway, the twist actually I didn't see coming, and it's revealed in a way. Well,
Yeah.
I figured it was coming after we hit a certain point in the movie, and I'm just going to tell you what that is, since this is a spoiler discussion. Now, and this is another influence that Luke Scott brought in, is in The Godfather. You'll see, I forget the name of Marlon Brando's character in The Godfather at the moment, but whenever they want to show him some far off, like, dark character, they obscure his eyes in darkness. And there's a point in the movie where they start obscuring Morgan's eyes in darkness underneath her hood, whereas elsewhere in the movie she's been completely lit. Or in parts where she's seemingly normal, she's been completely lit. But there's a part where she just decides she's going to go berserk, and her eyes are covered in darkness, much like that character played by Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
It's Vito Corleone.
I believe that's right. And there's a certain point where Lee is played by Kate Mara.
Mm-hmm.
She seemingly goes off the deep end in a much more controlled way.
Yes.
And it's understandable when she kills Morgan. But when she kills other people, that's where her entire body is obscured in darkness. Where Morgan was just a little bit right here, Kate Mara is completely obscured in darkness. She's just an outline of a figure. And it's at that point I realized that she was actually something like Morgan. And I was like, okay, that's good directing. That's good. That's a good idea right there to reveal it to the viewer in a subtle way. Or maybe to say at least, or maybe not saying that she's a simulated human like Morgan. At least to say if Morgan's dark, she is darkness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now there was one part earlier on in the movie, close to like nearly 2/3 of the way in, I guess, where they do give you a bit of a hint that Lee is also a synthetic, simulated human, however you want to put it. And that's in the conversation that her and Morgan have. There are hints alluding to that, and it does end with them saying that, well, Morgan saying that she's sure that there's a lot that they would have to talk about and how they have a lot in common. That conversation just told me all of that they like made the surprise ending right there. So I pretty much figured that then. So the ending wasn't really a surprise to me whenever Lee gets impaled on part of a tree, and instead of dying, she just sneaks up on Morgan and kills her.
Now, I didn't think that necessarily meant that she was beyond human. I figured, okay, well, you didn't put her down like you put down the deer.
Yeah.
So, she didn't die.
Well, yeah.
A stab through the gut doesn't necessarily have to kill.
Does.
Movies have established that that's not an instant death.
Yeah.
And
that is realistic, that you wouldn't just die on the spot from that.
And who's to say that just because they're not entirely human, means that they, wouldn't die from that sort of wound.
Moreover, what I was getting at was at the very end, where they explicitly say, it wasn't a surprise to me.
Yeah. What I think is funny is that she went to a diner after doing all this.
I know.
Like, still all bloody and stuff.
Bloody, cut up, like no stitches, no bandages, blood all over her abdomen. diner.
At least she put on a jacket so she didn't just walk in with a gaping wound. Like, did she not go to the hospital? Anyway.
Hospital schmospital.
Anyway, so the movie, I liked it. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like Luke Scott doesn't have a voice yet as a director, and maybe that's by choice to illustrate that he can just do a movie that isn't an art piece. He can do a movie that's sort of by the numbers but well done. He could work within the studio system and put out the sort of movie they want that is also pleasing to a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
But either by his own choice or his father's guidance or through, and I hope this isn't the right thing, through his lack of drive, lack of
Creative vision.
he demonstrated a lack of voice in this movie, for better or worse.
Now,
Although I definitely see potential there because this is his first movie and he did it really well. And I could find next to nothing wrong with the movie from a director's standpoint. Other than the fight scenes were a little bit shaky
Yeah.
cam, a little bit, which is an indication
sometimes dark,
and sometimes dark, which is an indication of
bad fight coordination.
or actors that were not quite making it convincing enough, and that can happen sometimes, and so you have to make that work. But otherwise, and really that's not the reason you watch this movie. You don't watch the movie for the fights, you're watching it for this amazing drama, all this build-up that's happening.
Yeah.
It's really well done. And I think it's a great first outing from Luke Scott, but I really want to see more from him later on. I really want to see what he can do.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any other points you wanted to make?
Now there is one little bit of homage at the end
Oh, yeah.
that did surprise me that they didn't quite go in that direction. I thought it was going to have literally the exact ending from Of Mice and Men at one point.
I thought so too.
Because
it's
character
Morgan.
who really should be put down goes out to a lake with character with a gun in their hand.
Yeah. The one that she looks up to.
Yes.
The one that she trusts completely, that she would never think anything bad would
Her
come from
only
her.
friend.
Supposedly. Morgan's understanding of what a friend is and what love is flawed, but that's because she is honestly 5.
Yes.
And I think that's the only issue with this movie is that they gave fully grown abilities to someone who's only 5 years old.
Yeah, you think they
that's- I think that's
prioritize
the-
like
the
teaching
entire
her
issue.
morality if they didn't want her to just kill everyone,
Well,
or injure everyone.
there's a lot to be said, but anyway, yeah, I really thought they were going for a Mice and Men there too. I was like, wait, is she really just gonna put her down there at the lake right after she's really happy? Is that really what's about to happen?
Yeah.
Like Kate Mara gets stabbed on a log, left for dead, and now she's gonna get put down by the only person she trusts. Bold move, movie, and then no, it doesn't happen.
And then no.
I think Luke might have been very happy just leaving it at that. Like, okay, they're gonna get this homage.
Yeah.
There's a lot of homages he puts in the movie where it's sort of an in joke, but it doesn't take it so far as to make it distracting.
Yeah.
I would say honestly that it feels like the sort of movie somebody fresh out of film school might make. And I find that a little bit strange since he's the son of Ridley Scott.
How old is Luke Scott?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's an interesting question to bring up, though. I think it's interesting how he's seemingly been outside the system for this long, and in the last few years he's taken an interest in actually working in Hollywood. Yeah, he came into it late. I guess he's finally decided he wants to play around. He didn't want to take up the family business.
His
from
daddy
his
cut
dad.
him off.
Oh yeah. No, I don't want to say anything about the relationship between him and his
No.
dad because I don't think it's. Whenever you try to fill shoes like that, it's really hard. Like I wouldn't want to be the son of Ridley Scott either if I was gonna be in Hollywood because, well, from a creative standpoint, because everybody's going to think that of course he's just going to copy his dad or whatever, or he only is in the business because of his dad. That is untrue. He proved that by doing whatever he was doing before he got into the business. He's an older guy. This isn't like some guy in his 20s doing his first movie. So he didn't want to follow in his dad's footsteps just by default.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he's done well in other aspects of his life outside of film. And now he's want to get into it because, frankly, anybody with the opportunity should.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's following in his dad's footsteps just because it's easy. He's doing it because he wants to. All right. Well, if we have nothing else, was there another thing?
Any direct references to Ex Machina you wanted to bring up?
Okay, if you've seen Ex Machina, I don't even need to tell you what the references are in this movie. First of all, the concept is very much the same as Ex Machina. And that's not an unfortunate thing. Although they started production in this movie, filming?
Started filming.
Okay, they started filming 4 months after Ex Machina came out. So I don't know when pre-production started. Maybe it was unfortunate they were going forward with the idea after they realized Ex Machina was coming out, and they were sort of beating them to the punch.
Well, I think a good way to go about this would be to look up whenever Loom came out, because Loom is supposed to be what Fox looked at whenever they asked him to actually make a full length script and feature, and then the script for Morgan ended up making its way to him, and he made that. And it's supposed to be close to Loom from what he said in the interview.
Okay, well, we'll look into that more a bit later. But anyway, like I was saying, if you have seen Ex Machina, I don't need to tell you what's similar between this movie and that one. It's all over the place, and it's more than just the concept. There's going to be a lot of scenes that are seemingly directly ripped from it, and I don't see that as being a rip-off. I see that as being homage and acknowledging that, okay, these two movies are similar. Yes, they're even going to have a lot of the same things happening, and there's going to be a scene that's lit very much like Ex Machina is lit in some of its scenes where something similar happens. And I think that's just to acknowledge, yes, they're the same, not trying to rip it off.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite little things in the movie, and if you really wanted to, you could take part of that as another homage to Godfather, is in a scene where Paul Giamatti uses the phrase apples and oranges with Morgan, and Morgan doesn't quite get it, but she does say, I am apples and oranges. In the scene where oranges are mentioned, she kills Paul Giamatti. So
for the people that don't know, anytime an orange appears in The Godfather, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah, like death follows in the next scene.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like film school 101 right there, is that happening. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, we covered what we wanted to talk about the movie. It's good, not great, although I like all the performances in there, and the only reason I'm not grading it higher is because it's from the son of Ridley Scott, and it's seemingly just competent.
It's a big shadow to be stuck in.
Yeah.
And I think all that's left really is recommendations.
I'd recommend you watch it.
Yeah, same here.
It's good. It's honestly good, but just knowing who directed it, I expected more from it and less film school styling.
So see it in the theater, maybe stream it whenever that becomes available, rent it from Redbox, but I wouldn't necessarily, say buy it. But it's good to watch at least once.
Yeah, that's a for sure. So I wouldn't say buy this movie, but definitely see it at least once. You'll enjoy it. If you liked Ex Machina, you'll like Morgan. If you like sci-fi, you'll see this as like a soft sci-fi movie. And if you like drama, definitely see this movie because it works on that level for sure.
Oh yeah, drama, tension, it does do that very well.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been It's Just Called Two Brothers with Kuro Mankuro
and Conrad. And you have a great day. Be sure to like, subscribe.
Oh, yes. Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Sign our change.org poll to let Pearl say fuck in Steven Universe.
Yeah, only Pearl, though.
Only Pearl. Just once. It needs to happen. All right. Thanks. See you around.